Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to be looking at the Spanish pronunciation, and we're going to be looking at what letters in Spanish are pronounced differently to how they're pronounced in English. There are quite a few. There are a few different there are a few sounds that we do differently in Spanish, so let's have a look. The first one we're going to look at is this one, letter J, which in Spanish is called jota. Okay, I'll say again, jota, jota. So you can tell already what the sound of this letter is. Jota. It's a h. It's a guttural sound I do with my throat. Jota. Okay. We'll find this J in front of consonants, and also we'll find it in front of any vowel. Okay. So I might have ja, I'll have je, I'll find chi, I'll have jo, and I'll have ju. Okay, so ja, je, chi, jo, ju. Now, every time you hear ja, okay, every time you hear in front of an A, this is how you're going to spell it. Same for jo. This is the only spelling of this sound. Jo, ju. That's it. J-U. That's the spelling of this sound. Ju. However, je, okay, G-E, je, could also be spelled like this, and chi could also be spelled like this. Okay. If you hear a word, if you hear jirafa, jirafa, how do you know it's spelled jirafa and not jirafa? Good question. You don't know unless you know how to spell the word. Okay, so there will be some cases where you will hear je, ji, and you won't be quite sure of whether that should be a J or a G. It's just a matter of learning that spelling, unfortunately. Okay, many native Spanish speakers do make mistakes, use J's instead of G's at times. Okay, so it does happen. So we've got the word jirafa as an example. We've got the word Japón, Japón. Okay, country for Japan, Japón. So this sound, I really advise you to really try your best to pronounce it. It is tricky if you're an English native speaker, but it can be done. Okay. Next sound we are going to look at is this one. Okay, this is the letter V. In Spanish we call it V, V, and if you hear V, I'm pronouncing this V pretty much like a B, okay? And that's basically the sound of this letter. In Spanish, V and B are pronounced exactly in the same way. For example, I've got the word vivo, vivo, which means I live, vivo, and it's as if it was spelled with two B's, but no, it's spelled with a V, okay? Vivo. Another example could be the word vendo, I sell. Vendo. Okay, again, it's a V, but it sounds like a B. Vendo. Another letter that we should be aware of in Spanish is this one, X. Okay, which in Spanish is called X. X. X has got two sounds, two possible pronunciation. The most common, it's like a K and an S, as in the word taxi. Taxi. Okay, if you can see, the pronunciation of this word is pretty similar to what you would pronounce it in English. In English, I suppose, would be a bit more like taxi. Okay, the main difference would be here, taxi. But it's a K and an S, okay, taxi. In English, you've got another pronunciation, another sound for this letter, which is a little bit more like a G and a Z. Okay, as for example, example, example. If you think about it, example is a little bit softer than taxi, okay? An example, taxi. This one is a bit harder. So this is the one we want in Spanish, okay? It's the x. We don't do gz, we do x, okay? Taxi, okay? Or, I don't know, exacto, exacto, okay? Listen to it, notice that it's strong, exacto. Another pronunciation of this X, it's like a S, and that's what's going to happen when you find it at the beginning of a word. So you've got the word xilófono, xilófono. In English you would pronounce this xylophone, and you would do like a Z, xylophone. In Spanish this sound does not exist. In Spanish, z, nobody does z, okay? It's s, so it's xilófono, okay? So two possibilities, taxi, when the X is inside a word, or xilófono when the X is at the beginning of a word. Next letter worth talking about is this one. This one, which in Spanish is called theta. Theta. So yes, the sound of this letter is a bit like a TH, like an English TH, theta, or what you would represent phonetically as this, okay? Theta. Examples of this word are, for example, zorro, zorro, fox, okay? Zorro. This letter, Z, theta, you will only find it in front of consonants or in front of A, tha, in front of O, tho, like in zorro, or in front of U, okay? Thu, tha, tho, thu. You will never, ever find in Spanish words Z-E or Z-I, okay? Z never comes before E or I, never, okay? In fact, I'm going to do it in red so that it's clearer. Never. We never have the and the expressed like this. Instead, we would write C-E, the, C-I, the. Okay, so the Z, we will, as I said, we will only use it in front of consonant or in front of A, O, U. In front of E or in front of I, we will always use C. Okay, the only time where you might find something with a Z-E, Z-I will be in some foreign word, foreign name, okay, but not in Spanish, proper Spanish words. Another word that's got a bit of a different pronunciation in Spanish than in English is this one. Okay, this one, which is a W, W in Spanish. I've got here this word, and I've got here this word. These two words are words in Spanish taken from the English language, which is generally where you will find this this letter. Words from English, words from German, not in proper Spanish words. In Spanish, we don't really use it. So I've got these two words. Listen to my pronunciation of this word. Whip, whip, whip. Okay, I'll do it again. Whip. Listen to the pronunciation of this word. Waterpolo, waterpolo. So this W in Spanish tends to be pronounced, the most common pronunciation is like a GU, okay? Whip, waterpolo. Occasionally, you might hear it being pronounced like a B, okay? Like, I don't know, in the word Wagneriano, something belonging to Wagner, okay? In certain words that come from German language especially, this W will be pronounced like a B. But more often than not, especially with words that come from English, this W will be pronounced like a GU, okay? Web, waterpolo. Another letter, in this case it's a letter that doesn't exist in English. It's a very Spanish, in fact it's probably the Spanish letter by excellence. It's this one, ñ, ñ, okay? Ñ. It's an N with a line on the top, okay? And it's a letter in itself. It's not an N, a funny N, it's a letter in itself. This letter is very common in Spanish, okay? Even the word España contains the letter. Other words are, for example, araña, the Spanish for spider. And notice the pronunciation of this letter. España, araña, okay? It's a ñ sound. In English, you don't really have this sound. Probably the closest, what you would find in French, for example, that they do the combination of GN, or in Portuguese, it corresponds to an NH, okay? So it's this ñ sound. Finally, the last sound that I should mention is that of the double L, elle, okay? Elle. Double L, it sounds pretty much like a Y in Spanish. So if you've come across the expression me llamo, my name is, me llamo, this is how you should pronounce this double L, me llamo. or if you have talked about la lluvia, the rain. This is how you pronounce this double L, lluvia. Me llamo and lluvia. Okay. In some areas of Spain, especially the northeast, this might be pronounced a little bit different, like a L, a bit of a complicated sound to make. But don't worry, most of Spain, Latin America, they will pronounce it as y. Okay, me llamo and lluvia. So I hope this is clear. Those sounds that are a little bit different between English. Oh, what's happened here? Between English and Spanish. And I hope it makes sense. And please get trying, get pronouncing, keep giving it a go. Thank you very much for your attention.